pulses just at this point where the clock transitions from low to high. So if we could build a circuit that could do this, then we could use this new signal here at the top as an enable for just the classic D latch that we've been looking at so far. And as long as this pulse is really, really narrow, then effectively we're getting an instantaneous, or as close to instantaneous as we can, kind of readout of what D is and transitioning just at that point. And so if you look at this is kind of like your enable in a regular D latch. And then if you have that enable and that D, you put that into a regular D latch, then this is the output you'll get. And hopefully that makes sense. And so you can see if we could somehow take this clock signal and detect these rising edges with a circuit that we'll call an edge detector, and detect those edges and then turn that into a pulse like this, then we can build what's called a D flip-flop, which is a circuit that will take, that will start with this clock and only transition at these points where the clock transitions from low to high. So now the question is, how can we build an edge detector circuit that takes this clock signal and outputs these pulses? Well, there's a couple ways to do it, and one is this sort of interesting looking circuit here. And you might be wondering, well, what does this do? We've got one input and one output, and so the idea is that somehow a rising edge here is going to result in a pulse over here. But you might be wondering, well, we've got this inverter going into an AND gate, and so we have an input here going through an inverter, and one side's going through the inverter, the other side isn't. So if you had, let's say you had a 0 over here, well, that 0, if you have a 0 coming in, it's a 0 over here, it's going to be a 1 over here. And then, the AND gate's going to be a 0. It's only going to be a 1 if both inputs are 1s. And you might wonder, well, how do you get to both inputs being 1? I mean, if this is a 0, then this is going to be a 1. If this is a 1, then this is going to be a 0, because we're inverting this. And so you would think this AND gate would never turn